Hello everybody, it's me, Adrian Salbuchi, once again from Argentina. You might remember that in December 2009 I uploaded onto YouTube a video called 2010 Forecast Transition from Globalization to World Government. In it I described 12 dynamic triggers that I believe that the global power elite are using to drive the transition going from the wrapping up of globalization after 20 years and the ushering in of world government. Early in March I prepared an update on some of those triggers. Then in May I prepared another update in Spanish on the same subject. And now I would like to prepare with this video the second update on some of those key triggers. They were designed, I believe, to generate as much turmoil as possible to promote revolutionary change. And they are also geared on generating overwhelming crisis events that surpass the power of any nation, even the United States, to really cope with them and address them. As David Rockefeller once said, all we need is the right major crisis and all nations will accept the New World Order. And more recently, Barack Obama's Zionist Israeli Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel, when the financial crisis exploded in 2008, said literally, "You don't ever want a crisis to go to waste. It's an opportunity to do important things that you would otherwise need to avoid." So let me remind you what those 12 triggers are. First, the global financial collapse. Second, the deepening economic crisis that causes. Third, both together will generate growing social upheaval. Fourth, artificial pandemics. You remember the swine flu of 2005, then the bird flu of 2009? They're still working on it. Selective viruses that will target specific DNAs. They themselves have said it. China will soon catch a terrible cold. Fifth, an artificial environmental catastrophe, global warming, geophysical catastrophes, and so forth. I addressed this in my video in March 2010. Sixth, a mega attack, a terrorist mega attack. That is a wild card up their sleeve. Careful with that one. Seventh, war in the Middle East. This I'm going to address in this video. Eighth, a nuclear or ecological accident. I will also address this in this video. Ninth, the assassination of a key political or religious figure of global importance. Tenth, the beating up of a rogue state. We might see this very soon with Iran or with North Korea. 11th, a staged religious reality show type event. And 12th, a staged space alien extraterrestrial type event. Let's see where we are today in June 2010. But first, the Bilderberg Conference. It took place in the Hotel Dos Ziques near Barcelona in Spain from the 3rd to the 6th of June. I will deal with that in a separate video very soon, but I would like to mention what really came out of it, and people have been able to investigate it. There is a split in the global power elite structure. We must understand this. There is a basic fault line that runs along the following divide. There is a group that wants to continue being staunch supporters, subordinated to international Zionist objectives and prioritizing the national interest of the State of Israel over the national interest of every other country, even the United States, on the one hand. And on the other side, there's a group that is increasingly fed up with the ultra-right-wing fundamentalist Zionist lunatics who have taken over the State of Israel after the assassination, they themselves assassinated him, of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin on 4th November 1995. The Likud and Kadima gang, Ariel Sharon, Yehud Olmert, Benjamin Netanyahu, and everybody else who is in that gang. We must understand that the Yitzhak Rabin assassination was a watershed event. Rabin was really seeking a working two-state solution with the Palestinians and his neighbors. Prime Minister Rabin tried to made sweeping agreements with Egypt, with Jordan, with Syria. He allowed Yasser Arafat back from exile on the 1st of July 1994, just 2 weeks before the AMIA mutual organization was blown up by a bomb in Buenos Aires. And Rabin's assassin was not a neo-Nazi, he was not an Islamic fundamentalist, he was a young student by the name of Igal Amir, a Zionist fanatic linked with the illegal settlers movement, linked with the Shin Bet, which is the Secret Service of Israel, and member of the largest Zionist group B'nai Akiva. The global power elite San Andreas fault whether or not they will continue to be, Zionism will continue to run the pinnacle at the pyramid of global power, of the global power structure. The Zionists are willing to keep that power on a global basis, even if it means a nuclear war. And that's where we are standing. We are standing on the threshold of a nuclear war. As Theodor Herzl clearly said in his 1896 book, A Jewish State, he spoke that there definitely is a Jewish problem, and it's a global problem. Like it or not, it has become one of today's foremost problems, and we cannot just sweep it under the rug. It has to be addressed, and it has to be addressed with justice and with equanimity. And remember, the global power elite have a bag full of dirty tricks to promote all of these traitors. Artificial crises of all shapes and sizes, false flag events, genocides, assassinations, illegal covert operations, and they are always protected by the mainstream media, which is in their hands, with its outright lies, its blatant deception, and its permanent smoke screens to try and cover up all the misdeeds that they do. An old anonymous book of more than 100 years ago said regarding the global power elite strategy, it was already designed back then, that it will always be based on force and hypocrisy. So the Bilderberg meeting is as close to the top of the pyramid as you can get. It is even above the Council on Foreign Relations. It's above the Royal Institute of International Affairs. Daniel Estulin has been following them up very closely. I recommend that you read and listen to what Daniel Estulin has to say about the Bilderbergs. He's a very good man, and he's very good at investigating, and he does us a great service. Also Jim Tucker. So let's go and see some of these events. First, the global financial collapse. Systemic solutions are being implemented over the past 2 years only for the bankers, for their bonuses and for their bailouts. US, UK, European citizens who are facing foreclosures, who are facing personal bankruptcies, there is no help for them. The IMF, as they did with Argentina in 2001, are now clobbering Greece, and they will be clobbering Ireland, Spain and Italy very soon. What does the IMF demand? Extreme austerity. Why? So that governments can raise more and more tax money. For what? To bail out the bankers. So that always goes back forwards and backwards in the very same way. What is really happening on the monetary and the financial scene? We are seeing the controlled collapse of both the United States dollars and the euro because they want to usher in a global currency. They might even call it a new dollar. It will be gold-backed, but it will be gold-backed, and that's why they're hoarding so much gold. They will be issuing certificates, gold certificates, that will be used for fractional banking just as they do now. I mean, think about it. If they were able to invent money out of just thin air with paper, they will be able to do it even better if they say, we have hoarded up all the gold. And how will this take place? Well, on the one hand, the US dollar is being collapsed by hyperinflation. How many trillions of dollars has the Fed, the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States, issued over the past years? Think about it. All those US Bank Federal Reserve notes, all those treasury bills and bonds. Audit the Fed. That is the key issue. Secondly, the euro is not hyperinflated, but they are going to collapse it by fracturing the European monetary mechanism. They just announced a 750 billion euro bailout package for all of Europe. That's $1 trillion. Greece and Portugal, maybe they can handle. But what if Spain drops out of the European monetary mechanism? What if Italy pulls out? What if Germany pulls away from the euro system and reverts back to the Deutschmark? So we are seeing the perfect storm gather to usher in a new dollar, which will be the world government's private currency, fully controlled by the banking cartel from New York, from London, and from the Bank of International Settlements in Basel in Switzerland. And a word of warning, if you do buy gold for yourself, don't settle for any bank giving you a certificate for the gold that we have in our possession that's yours, or for the gold, or a voucher for the gold on deposit. If you buy gold, take the bloody gold and put it in your garden, put it on anywhere. You can bury it in your backyard. Gold, metallic gold, is crisis-proof. Paper, whether it be dollars, euros, bank certificates, gold certificates, stocks and shares, is just that. Paper. We went through all of this in Argentina. We know only too well what it's all about. This will all lead to leading to a deepening economic crisis. What is happening? Euro, $750 billion bailout for the bankers, obviously, because What is the bailout for? So that people can, so that the countries can pay the bankers, and the bankers can continue doing their business as usual. Spain is seeing a 5% salary cut in public workers and a 21% unemployment rate. The United Kingdom will slash $100 billion from its deficit in 4 years, and 300,000 public jobs will go. And there's also a salary freeze. Germany announced 80 billion over the next 4 years in a salary freeze. Portugal, more VAT, more taxes. Ireland, more than 15% down on its public worker salaries. A graffiti in Dublin sums it up. Greed is the knife.